Yep, the training bus today almost dropped me off at Snap City. Ah, man. So I made this GHD yesterday and I couldn't wait to get in here. Couldn't wait to start doing these reps. Yesterday I did 100 reps with just body weight. Today I thought I'm going to do 5 sets of 10 and then I'm going to give the barbell a bit of a tinkle. So I was going to just put an empty barbell on my back and just do a set of 5 or 10 or whatever. It's coming up in a second. You'll see it in a bit. But basically, what happened was, I put the bar on my back, and oh my God, is that heavy on your back? Not so much on the back, but on the hips. I was gobsmacked. The moment arm in these things is very, very long. The lever is very long, and so the pressure on the hips is kind of like the good morning, right? It's kind of the good morning without the Snap City potential, because the strength curve is the hardest at the top, not at the bottom. But I put the bar on my back and I thought, all right, let's do it. And then on rep 8, 9, and 10, the reps progressively got worse and worse, and not in a good sense. I started feeling both of my hips kind of like, how do I explain this? Kind of like where your sitting bones. I felt the tendons, the tendons there, really struggling to a point where I felt sharp pain to both hips, and it took me about 5 or 10 minutes walking around to kind of shake it off. And I still, as I'm sitting here, I feel, my Lord, this feels really uncomfortable. So I did something. I don't know what it is. I think it's way too much too quickly. Set, like I said, 8, 9, and 10 were really bad. I was grimacing like crazy here, and at first I thought, oh yeah, that's a nice contraction. That's a good feeling. And then I quickly realized that this was not good. And you'll see me here. I had trouble getting off this damn thing. I was feeling it. I couldn't kind of extend the hips. Every time I would bring the knees up to the chest, it was like really, really painful. Like not like excruciating pain, but like weird pain. So I spent about 10 minutes kind of walking around and trying to shaking it off and kind of doing bodyweight squats, and progressively got better and better. And then I started getting to the squat. And in this position right here, spent a bit of time here. I basically felt that same spot on both sides, both hips, kind of like where the glute inserts into the femur, I guess. I don't know. But I came close to doing something bad there. It just goes to show you, just do reps until you're really sure that you can add weight. I added the bar and I thought this is fine. And the first 6, 7 reps were good. But then as I tried to explode on the 8th and 9th rep, it was like I did something. I don't know what I did. Luckily for me, it's not bad. As the squatting routine kind of continued, I felt better and better. But I was very low on confidence to load heavy weight today. So what I did was, by the time I got to like 100 kilos, 140 kilos, it started feeling alright, but I couldn't push with my all might. Like there's a bit of, kind of like the TFL thing that I had in the past. Like when you're not sure about something, you have fear of kind of exploding up with the bar. And that's kind of the sensation that I had after 20 minutes after the glute ham developer, kind of those 7, 8, 9, 10 reps. So I was feeling them through here. But yeah, I was kind of like, half of me was kind of worried. And so what I did after I did the squats, I hit 160 for 1, and I was like, and that was kind of like, oh God, like the bar moved all right, but I feel the hip, right? I feel something in the hip. So what I decided to do is, and I've done this in the past, I don't recommend people do this. When you tweak something or when you do something that's kind of like, oh, that doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right, what I recommend people do is, it's very, very hard to kind of recommend. Okay, let's say it like this. I don't recommend anyone that does this. But for me, in the past, I've done this because I just feel like I want to get blood in. So after I did the 160 squat, I went back to the glute ham developer and I did 10 sets of 10. I know it's stupid, but the first set was kind of like, oh, let's see how it feels. And it felt all right. The whole 10 reps felt good. And the more I did it, the better those two positions in my hips felt. So then I did the second set and the third set and the fourth set. And as the sets kind of went on, I started feeling better and better because I had more blood and more blood getting in there. Right now, I feel it a little bit. I feel it just like a little bit, but it's a lot better than it was kind of when I put the barbell down after I did it. So I don't know what the thing is. I don't know what the exact anatomy of it is. I feel like it's either a hamstring or it's like the distal glute tendon, or it's like the proximal hamstring. I'm not sure. but I felt something and it didn't feel right. It kind of felt like a sharp tweak. I'm not injured, I don't think, but it's something to consider in the coming days. So what I plan to do is just do a shit ton of GHDs, very light. I'm not going to be dumb. I'm not going to do the barbell again for a while now. Basically, the barbell surprised the hell out of me how heavy it was. In the first couple of reps, I was like, whoa, this is heavy. And I felt the glutes and the hamstrings like, wow, look at that freaking tension. And then on the 8th and 9th rep, basically the tension became too much. And then the sharp sensation happened. It kind of like, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, we've all kind of seen sports. In Australia, like we've got the Aussie rules football. You see kind of the guys running. They're running, try and pick up the ball kind of like at half run, and then they just grab the hamstring, kind of the butt area. That's kind of where I feel it. So now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably the hamstring. So how do you repair the hamstring? The hamstrings are, by the way, I mean, if you tear your hamstring, you're out for a long time if you're a sports athlete. Those guys don't like to heal all that fast. So my thing here is I'm just going to put a shit ton of volume, shit ton of blood, just bathe the thing in blood to give it the best chance to recover. The thing for me now is I want to see how I wake up tomorrow, how the day progresses, how it all pans out. Right now, as I'm sitting here, like on the sitting bone, I feel it, but it's not like I'm having trouble flexing my hip, like putting the knee all the way to the chest. That's when I kind of feel it. Like my leg doesn't want to do that kind of thing. There's a limited range of motion now. So something's happened, but I don't think it's that bad. I mean, if I continued doing more work, it would have been really bad. Luckily, I'm in a controlled setting here. I'm not running. I'm not doing powerful movements. These type of hamstrings usually pop when you're sprinting or when you're like, really kind of giving it all, So I don't know. I think I'm all right. And I'm just gonna do a lot more reps in the coming days and what you're seeing here, I was doing this without any trouble. Like this feels good. But if I were to bring my knee to my chest, then it feels kind of like, okay, that's where the trouble is, which is interesting. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've done a lot of reps in this position in the last few days. I mean, yesterday and today, a whole bunch of reps. So maybe the hamstring's like, okay, enough of this, man. We're going to tear off the bone if you continue this. It just feels amazing, especially now when I'm looking up. Like that's the other thing. Look up, and I've got a little bit of a spot on the wall that I like to look at. Just feels amazing. The whole back feels crazy. Everything feels crazy. But let's stay away from the bar because that craziness at the top position when you're fully extending the hips, maybe the hamstring just panics a little bit. Because I've always said this. You guys know this. I've said it over and over again. My glutes are much, much, much stronger than my hamstrings. And just by looking at me, I've got these big old glutes on me, but the hamstrings can't keep up. So maybe this is what happened. The glutes were contracting for hip extension and the hamstring went, whoop, almost too much for us to handle. So I think that's what happened, and that's that sitting bone position. That's where the hamstring kind of likes to insert, or doesn't like to insert. It likes to originate from there and inserts at the knee. So anyway, almost Snap City today. Almost paid a heavy price. The key with training, man, like the old timers have always said it. The best thing you can do when training is keep safe and stay away from injuries, because injuries set you back a whole lot of time. So try and train in a way where you don't get injured. This is where my philosophy comes from. Do a little bit each day. Maybe that a little bit was kind of ill-defined now in the last few days. Maybe I've been doing too much. So definitely I'm staying away from the weight. Just do the body weight. I mean, this feels great. This feels fantastic what you're seeing here. So don't think, this guy snapped his hamstring is doing this. This feels good. But the added weight and the added requirement of the glute to fire at the top position, maybe that's too much for the hamstring. But just with no weight, feels fantastic. So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of lucky to have not paid a heavier price. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Lucky, but not lucky, that kind of thing. After the GHDs, I also did some calf raises. Initially, I thought I was going to do calf raises every day, but it's just basically too much for me to, this session took about an hour and 15, an hour and a half because of the calf raises. So I did some calf raises. I tried to do them on the ground, on flat ground. That kind of didn't work out well. So I went up to the squat rack, into that back bar, bottom bar, and I went up in there and I did 10 sets of 10 basically. I did 5 sets of 10 with just doubles, both feet, and then I went to single leg and I did that. And it just feels good. Feels like I'm loosening him up. The one thing I want to tell you guys about is, I don't know if you can see on this position here, I've got my heels together. The reason why I try to do this was because you really want to limit the pronation of the ankle at the bottom position. So I did this set, and then my cameraman was like, I didn't even tell him about the word pronation. So he just basically said, dude, your ankles are hips pronated in the bottom position. And so then I thought, okay, that's exactly what I was trying to avoid. So I ended up putting a 20 kilo plate on the ground, and I just basically put my foot, single foot. Actually, I did both doubles and singles here. But you basically position your feet in such a way where the great toe, the big toe ball of your foot, is kind of on the pad, or on where you're stepping up to, but the pinky ball of your foot is off. So in the bottom position, you are kind of like supinating, or turning your feet out. I don't know how to explain it. It's basically supinating. Pronation is kind of where you get flat ankles. So you want to avoid that in the calf raises, because that's exactly why we're doing these calf raises, to avoid that. But anyway, that's all I've got here for you guys today. Close call, almost snap city, but I'm all right. I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.